I'm Joanne Turner of Joanne Turner Coaching, and today I want to talk about branding. So branding means creating a visual identity for your business or your organization, for yourself. There are lots of examples of this in the world around us. We see it all the time. One of the best examples probably ever is the Coca-Cola logo. When I was in Morocco in 2008, I saw some stacks of the plastic trays that they bring soft drinks in, and I could recognize the Coca-Cola logo even though it was in Arabic, and I don't read Arabic, so it's universal. You can recognize it in any language anywhere you are. That's really good branding. So a lot of businesses, especially large corporations, they will create branding identities for themselves, and they might use it on everything, on the sides of their buildings. Airlines have really identifiable brands. You know, the entire paint job on the whole plane, especially the tail, will have their branding on it. So we see it all the time, and we recognize it all the time. The nightly news or any TV show, they use colors, they use theme music, they use graphics that tell you this is this show. You recognize it, you're familiar with it. If it's a show you watch all the time, you may even find yourself really relaxing or getting uplifted when you hear that theme music, you see those graphics. It creates a feeling for the people that watch it. And that's part of what branding can do. So it can be really complicated and all-encompassing. It can also be really simple. I have a few statistics here on the importance of visuals for communicating to people and why having a brand identity, a visual identity for your business can be incredibly important. So here are some stats that I got off a site on the internet. 90% of the information processed by the brain is visual. Our brains process visual information 60,000 times faster than text. 80% of people remember what they see compared to 10% who remember what they hear and 20% of what they read. On Facebook, photos have an interaction rate of 87% compared to 4% or less for other types of posts like links or text. Posts that include images produce 650% higher engagement than any other posts on Facebook. So branding means that people are going to recognize your posts. They're going to recognize your ads, your signs, your vehicles. If you've got a truck or a van that has your logo on the side, that kind of thing. So if you can decide on these things, it's going to go a long way towards people thinking, oh, I've seen them before. And the more familiar people are with you, the more they trust you. And that's a huge factor. So branding your business or your organization can be a really important way of making people identify your brand, your business, your organization, your club, and making them think, oh yeah, I know these people. I know who they are. I've seen them their work before. And they're more likely to interact with it than if they haven't seen it, if they're not familiar with it. So it creates that sense of familiarity. And we've all seen this where I live in a small town, so I don't know how many plumbers we have, five plumbers, 10, I don't know. But you'll see a truck, a van or a truck will pull up beside me as I'm waiting at the intersection, and I don't even have to look at it directly, and I know whose van it is because I recognize their logo, I recognize the font, I recognize the colors. It's not conscious, it's unconscious, but I know this plumber from that plumber. And so that kind of instant recognition is worth a lot. But you can create this kind of recognition yourself very simply, just using tools like Canva, Photoshop, or Adobe Illustrator if you have those. And there are other tools that you can get on your tablet that can work just as well. What I'm familiar with is Canva, and that's usually what I help people with when I'm tutoring. So Canva is going to be what I'm mostly going to talk about here. But really, branding is like a silent ambassador for your brand, for your business, your club, whatever you're advertising. So usually what you want to do is pick anywhere from 2 to 5 colors, and you then use them all the time. and I'll go into a little more detail with that in a bit, and 2 or 3 fonts. You usually want to have a heading font. It's kind of the biggest, boldest letters. Maybe the name of your business is going to be in that. Then you have a subheading font where maybe you have a saying or a longer quote that you use, and then you'll have smaller text. So that might be your address, or it might be some other information about an event you're having, maybe the address of where the event is happening, that kind of thing. But you use these fonts over and over and over again, and they become part of your brand identity. You can also have a logo. If you're not gifted in design, or you don't have an arts background and you're not sure you can do that for yourself, you can hire a designer. There are lots of people available online who can often do it for really inexpensively. Or you might be able to design something on Canva. They actually have a whole logo section with templates and so on. So that's a possibility as well. But a logo is not absolutely essential. For my own business, my coaching business, right now I'm just using my name, Joanne Turner, and I've found a font on Canva that looks a lot like my own signature. So I have pieced it together. I actually used 3 different sections, one for the Joe, one for the Ann, even though it is all one word, I would like you to note, and one for the Turner, so that I could adjust the angles that they're at, and I can adjust the way they sort of interact with each other. So it looks right. It looks more like my handwriting than just using it straight across. So I use that over and over again. I have it on my website. I have it on my business cards. I have it on my Facebook page, and I also use it on all of my graphics. Very simple. It only took me half an hour, at the most, to come up with this, but I use it a lot. An arts group that I belong to uses the name of the group in a specific font, and we just use it over and over again. All our posters, all our business cards, we have name tags with the name of the group in that font. So that has become part of our visual identity. And we're artists. If we wanted to, we could design a logo, but because of the type of work that we do, we don't necessarily want to compete with our own artwork by using a really fancy logo. So just using our name in an identifiable font, that's good enough. So I'll just, well, I'm finding so this is my business card. I just created that a couple of weeks ago, got it printed on Canva, designed it on Canva, and then I had it printed by Canva. On the back, it just has all my contact information. And I also got a QR code, so that's kind of cool. So you can see some of the visual elements here that I've chosen for my brand. I've chosen a version of some version of turquoise or teal, and a gold or an orange, depending on where I'm using it. I might use an orangey gold, or I might use a yellow gold, or more of a peachy color. It just depends. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you what my website looks like. So this is the life coaching page of my Joanne Turner Coaching website, and I created this on Weebly. So there's a lot of text, but I have a footer that has, you can see here, it's got the teal color as for stay connected and follow us on Facebook, and I made sure that those 2 things line up. I have kind of a golden color here, then I have a picture of myself, and here's my logo. So that's pretty simple. It's actually a pretty minimalist website. I'll go to the home page. My computer is sometimes a little slow. So this is an image that I chose for the home page, and it's got very definite turquoise. It's got very definite, that sort of brick color, and very short, sweet and to the point. So my tech coaching page is quite a bit longer. And again, here's a photograph that these are actually all stock photos from Canva. All of the banner images on my website are stock photos that I got from Canva. And I chose them partly because I wanted to use the image of doorways or archways as symbolizing sort of stepping into the future, stepping into new skills or new ideas. But I specifically chose the images I did because they already had this turquoise and gold thing going on, turquoise and orange, that sort of idea. It's got a little bit of a retro vibe, a little bit of an exotic vibe. And then I've chosen this sort of warm brown for my headlines. Now here's an image that I've used from Canva. This is a stock image that I did a search for, and I've filtered this. So all of the photos that I used on my website, I used a filter called, I think it's called Solar in Canva. So it gives it a very warm look. And then I also adjusted it to increase the contrast a little bit, but also increase the brightness and the saturation. So there's lots of color here, but I wanted to make sure that it looked warm and had a sunny sort of feeling. And then here's another one. So this photo was very, very minimalist. It was sort of gray and white with a very lemon yellow for the woman's sweater and the bunch of fruit behind her. But by using the filters, I made it, her sweater and the fruit bowl, more warm. It's got that sort of golden feel to it rather than lemon yellow. And I also applied an effect called vintage. And you can really, on this picture, you can see it a little bit around this corner. Vintage applies a kind of a darkening effect around the corners. This is actually a photo that a friend of mine took. So here's me up in the upper left corner and some friends of mine on a Zoom call, because I do all of my tutoring on Zoom. This is another stock photo, same filters, same adjustments that I made, including that vintage effect. So it looks a little bit like an older photo. And then I have another one here, same filters, same adjustments, and then the same footer as on all of the rest of my pages. And then for dream coaching, again, totally different photo, but it still has that warm, inviting feeling of the orange contrasted against the blue-green. And then I think I've gone to life coaching, and then this is my blog page. So it's a little bit different, but it still has the orange of the door and a blue-green behind the plant, the vine, so that it has that recognizable feeling. Once you get used to seeing these types of images on my website and in my Facebook posts and so on, you're going to identify them with me. And then I'll show you this is my Facebook page, and I used one of these photos again for the banner on my Facebook page. Same image of myself. And actually here, when you see all these photos together, you can see how similar they are. So here's a graphic that I created. And again, I've chosen this font. It's called Collective, and it's in teal on a golden background. And then I used, for the name of the person who said it, in this case unknown, Mr. Anonymous, I used brown. And then this is actually from another person's website or Facebook page, Seth Godin's blog. And you can see how distinctive his graphics are. So again, this is branding. So he has Seth's blog. There's a kind of an orange circle in between Seth's and blog. And then he has this egg-shaped frame around his face. So I'm just scrolling down. So this is another graphic that I created. Again, same filters, same effects, same colors. All of them have my logo and the URL of my website. Same thing here. Same filters, same adjustments. So you can see that these are all mine. And I'll actually just go to see all. Just when you see them all together, it's going to be even more obvious that I've taken the same colors, the same adjustments, the same filters, and used them over and over again. Are people going to get tired of this? No, they're not going to get tired of it, because I have 455 friends on my friends list, and I'm going to see a lot of posts in the course of a day. So these images come up once a day. I've scheduled them to come up in the morning about 7:30, 8 o'clock. They're going to come up once a day, and they're going to be hidden in amongst people's posts on their news feeds. They're not going to get tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. So that's just one example of how I do branding, how I've done it for myself. You could even use black and white for your branding. You could have an entire website that has a white background. You use black and white photos on it. You use very simple fonts, or you might use classic fonts like Times New Roman or Georgia, or you might use sans serif fonts that are really bold, and that would give you a really clean minimalist look. But you could also go with something like a noir vibe or a gothic vibe. There's all sorts of things you could do with just black and white. So branding doesn't have to be really difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be something that people can visually identify and associate with you because they see it over and over and over again. There's a lot more to it if you want to get into depth with it, but it can also be just that simple. So there you go. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.